Welcome to the second week of the Peterpodcast. I'm your host, Taylor Clydesdale. This is Mike Lacey. And our host this week, or our guest star this week, is James Bradburn.
Yeah.
So why don't you describe who you are and why we have you on this week?
Well, I'm currently the president of the Peterborough Hockey Association. I've been talking to Mike and Taylor quite a bit on the internet and about the needs of hockey and rinks in the community. I'm here to represent that need, I guess, by the voice for the association somewhat, and my own personal view on things. Been involved with hockey for many years, probably 10 years as a coach and 12 or so as a volunteer. So, yeah, I'm here just to give you my observations and share some knowledge or some opinion.
How many kids do you have in hockey?
I have 3 kids. 2 are now graduated on out of hockey because they're older.
Mm-hmm.
But I have one now who's in Pee Wee, and I coach him at the Pee Wee AE level.
Yeah.
So, and he was in house league. But all my boys played in the PHA or PMHA at one time or another, whether it be house league, rest select, or rep hockey. Yeah.
Yeah, and the challenge when you have multiple, like, I have one son in hockey, and I spend probably 8 to 10 hours a week at the rink.
Yes.
But I know people with multiple kids in hockey and trying to go from arena to arena.
It is a big juggling act,
yeah,
for sure. And if you don't have family, like I'm lucky, I have my parents around, and my wife's side of the family was around, so there's a lot of help around. So we've been able to, get people to the rink here and there when we had to back in the day. Yeah.
You very quickly realize, just by experiencing it when you have kids or you're taking them to hockey games, just what Peterborough's arena situation is like.
Yeah, it's
So maybe we can dive into what Peterborough's arena situation is like, because we have an arena shortage. A study from what year again?
2013.
2013 arena needs study for Peterborough said that we need 3 new pads, and currently we have 2 being built at Trent.
2 being built at Trent, but they would replace North Crest, so in the end you would only be 1 pad up.
Yeah.
The study did say too that you really only need 3 more, and then the city should be able to accommodate its hockey needs for ever, really.
Yeah, I would agree.
And now the city this week is looking at replacing the Memorial Center with 1 or 2 more pads.
Yeah, and that's the $100,000 study that has just started to figure out what Peterborough's arena needs are. So I guess you're on the front lines of that.
Well, I can speak just from my experience, and Mike would probably echo the same comment. Like, I've been to every rink, I can say, between Ottawa and London, Ontario. And without a doubt, we are the armpit of arenas in the province. Like, I mean, honestly, I mean, you go to any center like Oakville, London, Ottawa, Kingston, Belleville now with their new facility, they all have hubs. They're hubs, they're centers of activity, which include arenas, libraries, pools, walking tracks, community rooms. It's a hub for the community, and that's what we don't have here. Like, the Kinsman Center is just 2 rinks and a lobby that's small. The Evinrude Center is 2 rinks with a small lobby and a mediocre meeting convention room, whatever, that doesn't even meet the needs of our community if we want to have a big event here. So at the end of the day, the foresight, in my opinion, they've never had any here in terms of arenas. They've just plunked them in where they thought they needed them and done little ad hoc renovations. And honestly, the North Crest, I was there last night, the place, I mean, God bless it, is a lovely arena, and for what it was worth, and the ice is nice, but the facility itself, you can't do anything there. It's not safe. I mean, quite frankly, in my opinion, like, you look at the side of there's frost on the side of the walls, it's just, ready to, I guess, implode itself in some way or another.
Yeah, like, my son practices there at least once a week, and the ice is great.
Yes.
But as an arena, it's an embarrassment.
Yes.
Now, you used the word foresight, and I find that really interesting because they kind of not slapdash, but as they went, they put down the arenas that they thought they needed and didn't really think too far ahead. You wrote a column a little while ago basically saying that...
Same thing?
Yeah, basically, with arenas being more than just an arena, they're big cultural hubs where you can include a library.
When you go to every other city, an arena is alive. Like, there's life to it.
Yep.
When you come to a Peterborough arena, everybody's just sitting around waiting for the game to start or waiting for their kids to come out. I mean, Belleville's complex, for example, has a gymnasium, a swimming pool, meeting rooms, and I think 4 pads.
Yeah.
Plus a restaurant. People are just, there's a life to it that goes beyond hockey.
Yeah, I would agree, 100%. And like you go Legends Center in Oshawa, which is only 45 minutes away, just on Harmony Road. I mean, there you go, 4 pads, swimming pool, library, gymnasium, boom. It is active all the time. You go in there, and it's a well-run facility, from what I can gather, from what I see with the movement of traffic of people. The parking's there is adequate. It's in a new neighborhood, so there's lots of new homes being built around it.
Well,
so,
if you look in Cavan, in Millbrook, where they've got that big new community center being built, they've got they've got 1 pad on there, and they've got lots of room to build onto a 2nd pad there, and it's right in a brand new development that's just being done right now. So it's going to be, they really are just building a brand new extension of their town around this community center that they're building. So.
Yes, and you watch, that'll be the next hub there for that area. I mean, that's the way to do it, right? And like, in my opinion, when I see what they want to spend more on this consultant, like, we know that Memorial Center is done.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, 61 years, it's had a great life. It has had it's met it's done everything it's had to do. But honestly, if you look at I mean, we're going over a bunch of scenarios here, but the OHL is like a mini NHL. So in order for Peterborough to survive, and God bless them for all the players they brought, or fans they brought in this year, they've done a great job with marketing the team. Unfortunately, the product isn't there. And I think, honestly, it'll be a little wave here of happiness with the stands, but I think we'll be back to reality next September. The numbers will go back unless they're really actively marketing again. But I mean, there's no draw, there's no life, there's no excitement in the building.
And they're trying. I mean, they do whatever the best they can to try to get people there.
Yes.
But the building is a challenge.
The Petes don't have enough space themselves there. They do a lot of their warm-ups in the foyer because they just don't have enough room in their training room.
And as I told you on the phone, I think, there's an opportunity there at Morrow Park for the city to kind of look beyond their nose and say, here's a chance, okay, we'll build a new OHL pad here. We'll add an arena on a practice facility beside it, so there's your 2nd pad. And then you've met all your needs if you put the 2 out at Trent. And you maybe could add a little more down at the Memorial Center, like you could have maybe an outdoor artificial turf fields, maybe a pool if they want to do that, but I assume that'll stay out of Trent. They got to look beyond that, like honestly. And to think they're going to jam it into the Townsend Street site, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's the right location.
No, I was at the arena where the Sarnia Sting play out of, and the setup's great. So you have the Sarnia Stings, the main rink.
Yes.
And then there's a giant restaurant that runs along the side of it, so you can watch the game while you eat. And then on the other side, you have their practice ice.
Yeah.
But there's you can also sit in the restaurant and watch. I mean, I imagine they have minor hockey games scheduled there all the time too.
Yeah.
But Peterborough has nothing.
No.
Like, if you sit in the restaurant now to watch the Pete's game,
it's not even a good view.
No,
it's terrible sight lines. I mean, you can't see anything. You want to be up high and then you can watch, right? That's to me what they got to do. I mean,
sightlines are one of the big complaints that they keep citing in regards to the problems with the Memorial Center.
Every arena in Peterborough. Actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're all. Actually, the best spot to watch a game is at Northcrest. If you're in the lobby, sitting on the wooden bench, because you get
you get to see the whole ice.
Yeah,
that's true.
But that's the only way you can watch a game in Northcrest. Otherwise, you're sitting out in the cold.
And I feel like with this $100,000 study, the city has to know, everyone on council has to know that the results are going to come back and say, you do need to build it. I think it's just a case of how big is it going to be and what needs is it going to serve. Is it just going to be for hockey, or is it going to be something that you're going to want to build something much more bigger and spectacular?
Well, in my opinion, if they want to really do what like Kingston and like Oshawa, if they want to have concerts and they want to draw like, fill the place, instead of having it, filled only 100 nights a year, filling it 200 nights a year, they need to have a place where you can have concerts, trade shows, car shows, all those sort of events that bring in and fill the rink. Like, I mean, that's why it's called multi-use facility, so you can use it for various things.
Yeah.
I mean, for them to think it's just going to be a hockey rink, well then we're completely going down the wrong road again, because it's not going to fulfill the needs.
I feel like, we occasionally fall into the trap too of just calling it an arena, but it's so much more than just an arena. And considering when Peterborough is hurting for event space, when you have one of the big new selling points of the Canoe Museum is that, hey, we have a bit of convention space and space for banquets. Like, when that's a big selling point for the Canoe Museum, that shows that you're hurting, and we've always been hurting for convention space.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it all stems from the fact, well, we don't have the hotels, because I think we've been through this before. There's no hotels here. There's nowhere to have a big convention that you could draw people in. Yeah, like it's.
Yeah, when you have like the lift lock tournament, teams are staying as far away as Oshawa or Coburg.
They're driving an hour away.
Yeah, which is, I can't believe that.
It is ridiculous.
Or you have a banquet, you have it in the Evinrude Center. In the summer, they take the ice out.
Or, well, what did they do last year for the special needs tournament? They had to have a convention in an airport hangar.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that to me shows us right there, we don't have anything here. It really is a shame. And to me, the citizens of this community have put up with a lot of, in my opinion, inadequate, facilities. I mean,
one thing I did want to talk about, though, with the lack of arenas, it makes it really difficult to schedule just ice time for minor hockey. Maybe you talk a bit about the challenges you guys have.
Well, the challenges we have now, that is something that we also face because of what we have to deal with in terms of the city. The city forces us to negotiate an ice contract well in advance of us knowing exactly what our needs are going to be. So we're in the process of negotiating now, but we end up signing a contract with the city for ice in the summer.
Yeah.
So it's in about the beginning of August, you sign your ice for the season. And we are still at that point gathering, registrants for our house league hockey, and we let that go to Labor Day. So we really don't have a handle on numbers of. We know our rep side of hockey because that's done in May, but in the house league side of hockey, we don't know till about Labor Day. So we're buying ice, assuming that we're going to have the right amount of kids to fill those needs, and then if we don't have enough ice, then we're stuck, and we got to go outside the community and use ice in Duro or Millbrook or wherever. And
you got to limit the ice somewhat for some of the rep teams as a result too. I think,
yes,
right?
well, we've had to, we're only allowing 2 practices a week. I mean, if someone wanted to have 3, they'd have to go out and buy their own ice elsewhere, and a lot of teams do that because they just don't have the ice in town. And I understand the position of the city, but we are their #1 customer, and we talk about this at our executive. That we're a $1 million customer for the city on the ice, the biggest user by far, and we still do not get any kind of, I don't know, if you're a good customer, you should have...
Is it respect?
Well, we get respect, but we just don't feel we're getting a good deal, I guess is what I'm saying. We don't feel we're getting a great deal. But we're working on it, and they're understaffed. Their constraints are big time, so I know they have issues. But from our standpoint, we want to get a better program for our members who pay a lot of money. Registrations are over, average $500 per family for house league or rep hockey. We want to give our families the opportunity to play hockey in a good facility at good times that can, fit their lifestyles, because everyone's doing all kinds of things with their families. Other than hockey, they may have kids and other things. So, it's very hard to fit it all in. But at the end of the day, we are hoping that, and they keep telling us when we meet them, when you get the new 2 rinks, there'll be lots of ice and you can have what you need. But currently, we don't have the needs that are meeting our wants, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I have a simple want. I want to be able to order some food from the canteen and be able to use my debit card to pay for it.
100% agree. I mean, we need to get into the 21st century there. But again, that's not our...
That's not a new arena.
That's not a PHA issue. That's a city issue, I guess.
Is it the 21st century that you want to be building arenas for? Is it the 22nd century? Because like the consultants were saying when they were giving the overview of the presentation, it's like, we don't want to build this thing for 2018's needs. We want to build this for like 2038's needs.
Yeah, 100%.
So you don't want to build a facility that's going to be out of date in 10 years. You want to build a facility that they're going to be using for...
Well, like they did with
50, 60 years.
Yeah.
We need like a 50-year facility.
Yeah. I feel like the Evinrude Center, it was built in, I think, 96.
Yeah.
It's out of date, almost.
It's getting tired, you can tell, for sure. And even the Kinsman, I've always said what they need to do there, if they want to keep that place running and keep it going for another 25 years, is they need to put the dressing rooms on the outside of the building, like instead of having the corridor down the middle with the dressing rooms there, build the dressing rooms like Ennismore did. They put them on the outside, and then they can come in on this side. So that corridor there, I mean, you get 3 or 4 teams in there. If there was ever a fire, it'd be a stampede, and it would be really bad.
I've seen, I mean, there's been a few heated games.
Yes, and then that whole area.
The coaches in the hallway.
And then the poor referee's got to walk all through that. So it's not set up right there at the Kinsman. So at the end of the day, you got to put those things onto the dressing rooms on the outside. But, I mean, that's my vision there. But again, who knows? There's no money for that. I don't think they're thinking that right now. They're just thinking we got to build a new rink somewhere, and we got to spend some money to do that. But we spent $12 million on a nice library. I guess it's turned out great. So that we've met a need there, which was needed for sure, and that's great. But now we got to look at the other needs of this community, which, in my opinion, are the rinks and the other sports that are involved, which is lacrosse and maybe the outdoor fields of soccer and football, whatever. We gotta address those.
And ultimately, it's in the city's best interest to cater to the sports industry, because the sports industry brings in outside dollars into the city.
100% agree. Yeah, tournaments, I can tell you just off from the PHA side of things, when we run a tournament, our AA tournament, which is our biggest, we have 50 or so teams. For our association, it generates about $50,000 revenue. Now, we don't make all that money because we have expenditures, but it's a $50,000 revenue that but then the spin-off, the hotels are full, the restaurants, they're buying food, they're at the mall buying things, so the spin-offs are in the million, in the hundreds of $1,000 million. So, I mean, we have a big tournament coming up here on the Family Day weekend, the Mike Mulvaney House League, 36 teams. It's a House League tournament, but again, it'll be a big revenue generator for us, and fills up some hotels. Now again, the rink issues, again, we're playing at Northcrest. How embarrassing. We have families coming there's teams from Ottawa, Guelph, all over, and they're going to come, and they're going to have to play a game in that Northcrest arena. As a person from that from outside going to play there, I would be embarrassed. That's embarrassing.
And when my son was in novice, he played roster select, and I think it was their first home game. It was a team from Kingston, and they came, they rented a bus, and they came all the way to Peterborough. They pull up and they come into Northcrest. They walk in and they're like, "There's not even a canteen to get something to drink."
I mean, again,
it was really embarrassing. Yeah.
Yes, it is, and it's a shame because it does a disservice. And then what happens is the word gets around. Oh, Peterborough, why would you want to go to a tournament there? Because it's like the arenas are crap. There's nowhere to go. It's a bad setup, right? So. I don't know what else I can tell you. It's frustrating as an association who has volunteers like myself. We're all volunteers, putting in hours for our association, and we just we're not getting the best facilities in our community. We don't even have an office. So while you get me going, I mean,
you don't know.
The PHA, again, with 1,000 or so kids playing hockey. If you go to any other arena, the main hockey association has their own office space where you have like an administrator or whatever. That's an office where you can have meetings, game sheets dropped off, or just a place where we can have somewhere to go. We don't even have that.
No, the Peterborough Minor Hockey Council has one at Evan
which they pay rent for it, and that's fine. But again, we've asked the city, and there's no space, and unfortunately we don't have it. But I mean, we'll see what happens with the new facility. But again, when we talk about the new rinks out at Trent, how are you going to get there? I don't know. I don't know the most
that's one of the things that people mention the most often is you put it in such not that Trent is isolated by any stretch of the meetings, but like there are more central locations that you
one of the other issues too, though, is if you have multiple kids in hockey, maybe one kid has a practice at Trent and another one has a practice at Evinrude, and there's maybe a half an hour gap between the two.
Tell me the direct way to get there.
There isn't one.
There is not one. And if you're an out-of-town person, I know what you're going to do. You're going to end up coming down the 115 all the way down, take Television Road, cut up to University Drive, and take that little road down, by, which is not equipped for that kind of traffic. It's a very, very worn road. And then you're going to hang a right over there by Nassau Mills Bridge. It's so far off the beaten path. I mean, it is not a good spot. Like I'm almost sad to think that it's going to be people be thinking, oh, we're coming to Peterborough, but we don't know where this is.
You're not going to see Peterborough when you come.
They're not going in and out. Boom. There's no spin off there. There's no how can we invite you into the town of Peterborough and and see some of ours. Whereas, Morrow Park, again, I always bring it back, centrally located, right on the main drag.
Yeah.
You've got oodles of land.
Unfortunately.
Stop at a restaurant after.
Yeah. And it's right on the main drag, too. You're right. So, like, there's lots of restaurants you can stay at. There's hotels along there.
Yes, there's lots of opportunity for people to spend some time in Peterborough and money. But we're just going to send them out into the forest and watch a game out in Trent. And
It's true, though. Like, after a game, if it's a Thursday night, I go to Whitby, play a game. When you're done, you swing by a restaurant real quick to grab something to eat.
there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but if you're coming from that, there's really isn't when you're coming from that Trent facility somewhere to go.
There wouldn't be.
How are we doing for time?
We're almost done.
All right. So I guess we'll leave it with you. Is there anything else that you want to add? Anything?
No, I appreciate your time. I think you guys are doing a great job covering the local issues there with the arena needs. I really hope you guys, I think at the end of the day, we need the media, which is you guys, to be the voice of the people and the associations and whoever, to drive it to City Hall and to the members of the staff there, that they got to look and think well beyond the next 5 years, 10. They got to go 35, 40, 50 years down the road here and say, you know what, if we want to give Peterborough what it needs, and honestly, with the 407 coming, we may be seeing an influx of families moving here as a bedroom community, and if we don't have ourselves set up with proper facilities, I don't think they'll be engaging in our community. They'll engage with other communities along the way or whatever. So it's about keeping families here engaged in sports, and you guys drive that bus and keep on them, and hopefully.
Well, there's an election coming up too.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, hopefully
you
guys are going to be on that for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is a good year for that. When is it? In May? Is it? No. When is the election?
Municipal election is in the summer and
No, in the fall.
In the fall. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
in the fall.
Provincial's
Oh,
coming up.
provincial.
Oh, yeah,
okay, right.
sorry.
Yeah.
I get my elections mixed
Yeah, you
up.
got a lot on your plate. So very much. I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you
Thank
again.
you for being here.
Yeah, great.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.